Good morning and welcome to Channel 7's 1982 Grand Final Day. We hope you stay with us throughout the day because we do have some great football coverage for you, starting from the reserves and going into the main match later on in the day. Of course, leading up we have highlights that happen throughout the year, and it is with great pleasure I introduce Bruce McAvaney and Robert Oatey. Welcome, boys.
Thanks, Neil.
Good morning, Neil. Great day for it, Neil.
Well, it is, but it's going to be warm. It's I think the players are going to know they've played a grand final, both in the reserves and of course in the league, and I can remember 61, Robert, was pretty warm.
Well, I'll never forget, that was my first year playing football, and that was very, very hot. And today that northerly's blowing, and whether in fact it dies out during the afternoon, it has been known to do it, and I would think the team that wins the toss is certainly in for a good start if they can put a few on the board, because it may just go out a little bit at Football Park with that sea breeze coming in the afternoon. It's just to nullify it a bit, and could be to the advantage of one team.
That's correct, because a northerly traditionally dies towards the end of the afternoon. A southerly normally picks up in force, whereas the northerly dies, so the toss could be a vital factor in today's game, and it is a little bit disappointing when you get to a grand final and a toss could possibly decide the outcome of the result.
Talking about the wind, well, Robert and Neil, we've been to Football Park a lot this year, Robert, and I don't think we've seen one game that really has been affected by the breeze at Football Park. Now, whether it's because we haven't had a lot of wind this year or because of the fact that the grandstand is now enclosed around the whole ground, I'm not sure of the answer, but in the past we've seen a lot of games affected by the breeze at Football Park, but not this year, and I think you'd back me up on that.
Yes, well, as you know, I'm a great G for Football Park for the very simple reason that the wind at Football Park swirls a little, but you can score both ends of the ground. And even when there's a strong wind blowing, and that was proven in grand finals in the past where teams have been able to fight back in the last quarter and make a bit of a go of it. But it's been a great weather season too, as far as the climate. We've had a hot season, and probably the strong southwesterlies that blow down there haven't been quite as bad as they have in other winters.
Now, what about Paul Weston? Now, I read in the paper this morning that he's under a cloud. He spent yesterday taking it easy. Have you heard any more?
I spoke to Paul briefly this morning, and he had a type of a gastric upset, which is not quite as bad as we all know as a head or a chest or a flu cold, and I think he'll be all right. He sounded pretty chirpy, and I'd be surprised if Weston doesn't play well. He realises the importance of this game, not only to himself as skipper but also to the club. But something's changed in football over the last few years, and I think Carlton have started with their running players, and it's interesting to note, Robert, today that in the ruck roving situation we have 4 players that are virtually rovers or run-on players. There's the 6'1", 6'2" follower that takes marks and sits behind the play, has sort of gone out of the game.
Yes, well, maybe there's a glut of this type of player. See, Glenelg have rationalised their situation by playing John Painter as a run-on ruckman and bringing McInerney back into the side as a rover. It's certainly increased their pace, and they tend to park a big fellow. Norwood in particular have parked these 2 big fellows at centre half forward and at full forward, and then they let Neil and all these other fellows run around them, and I think the genuine full forward in their side is Neville Roberts.
I think Norwood had a problem with pace, Neil, last year and earlier this year with Turnbull, who's a courageous rover and a fine rover, but the fact that they've got Greg Thomas who can really run and Neil into the side has given them a tremendous advantage over the side that we saw earlier in the year, and they've certainly added that bite to the Norwood side.
Well, it means that their half forwards are covering more ground. You know, they can work in much wider areas, where before they were working in a 20-30 yard circle. They're now covering 40-50 yards, and of course there's a lot of, particularly with big men, I just can't remember the last time 2 sides went into a grand final with rucks changing at full forward. No,
it's incredible. And Norwood also have got Neil Bunton at centre half forward. Butto lacks a little bit of pace. He's trying to bring these other smaller fellows into the game, but Paul Weston is interesting at centre half forward in himself from Glenelg's point of view, from the fact that he's not the big fellow that people are putting at centre half forward, but he's a tremendous kick, and I know that if Glenelg can just get him a couple of balls there and get his foot to them, whereas Neil Button's prepared to palm it off to other people, they want Weston to get a couple of touches.
Well, last week in particular, Marshall, who is a noted beautiful deliverer of the ball, he missed Weston a lot of times last week with his movement, and for Glenelg to be successful today going through that dangerous area where Tearley has been in control now for most of the latter half of the year, the movement to Western has got to be where he's moving, not where he's come from, because Teal will just gobble them up. That's bread and butter for him.
Right.
Neil, Jim McAvaney's been a very important player for Norwood. I thought he played particularly well against Port Adelaide in the second semi-final. Kernahan and Carey, a great combination. On paper, probably the best ruck set up in South Australia. Fearing's done a reasonable job. I think McAvaney's an important player today for Norwood.
Well, with the heat of the day, we're going to see the value of the second string ruckman more than, say, on a cold day, because it's Fearing and Carey. They just can't be expected to ruck the length of time on the ball that they have been doing in the cooler weather. So Kernahan and McAvaney do become important players, but bear in mind, Norwood have Bunton at centre-half forward to take a big workload off those two.
And I suppose one of the most interesting points, Robert, will be who will John Halbert play on Neville Roberts. He suggested John McFarlane yesterday, but I don't know, I think you might go with Seabone.
Well, I wouldn't do either. I'd put Jim LaHoo on Neville Roberts, because I don't think Jim LaHoo's got the pace to keep with any other of the Norwood small men, and if anyone was going to stay on Neville Roberts, he's pretty good overhead, Jim LaHoo, and whilst he's not quick, I think he'd be prepared to stick fairly closely, and I would give him a bit of a go. But
well, whoever it is, Robert, has got to be a very, very clever player, because Roberts is such a beautiful reader of the ball. His anticipation, his football brain is nearly second to none in this state at the moment, and whoever's got the job is in for a torrid afternoon.
He's the genuine scoring end for Norwood, the very genuine man who can kick goals. But in my opinion, Neil, the one person who I feel is going to affect this grand final is Philip Gallagher. In my opinion, he's got the touch of class that his 3 touches are magic touches. And this afternoon, Norwood have had him on the interchange bench. He's come up fairly well after his preparation in the reserves. And where Neil Baum plays him, and I'm sure he will, and be somewhere across the centre line. I wouldn't play him at centre on the strong fellow myself. I'd put him on a wing or even on a half forward line, but just to let him get into the game, and I'm sure that he'll be a very important player.
Well, Gallagher wasn't there the last time they played, but what a game it was. Kicked the difference. Let's have a look at the highlights, and Neil, we're on our way down to Football Park, and we'll be joining you throughout the morning with your preview. But the highlights of the game, Norwood against Glenelg from Football Park earlier this season.
It's a wobbly kick to the centre. Marshall spoiling away. Weston, he's too slow. Ace recovers the ball from him. Greg Thomas, well done, Graham Corns. Knocked back to Thomas beautifully by Ace. Thomas into the forward pocket. McIntosh has dropped back. He's got the opportunity to score. He steadies. Goes for the place kick, and it's a beautiful kick to the front of the square. Jenkins can't take it, and there's the ever-reliable Keith Thomas. And Thomas into the goal. Norwood's first. If he really gets onto it, he'll go close, but he hasn't. Missed time slightly. Bunton from the front. Hayden from the back. Big fella has got the balance to get it right. Keith Thomas. Back screws it through. Magnificent. Only a champion's kick.
Screw punt is a great kick by Weston. It's going to make the distance. In the front spot, it is Winter, and he's got the mark. What a kick by Weston.
Goes into the half-forward line short. Holds with strength. McFarlane. The handball slightly inaccurate. Hip and shoulder by Jenkins. Spoils the ball away to Big Kernahan. That's a direct charge on the body there by Turnbull, making no effort to go for the ball in any way, shape or form. Spoiled away by Teal. Beautiful trap by Weston. Quick kick forward. And it's a goal. Well done, Paul Weston. Beautiful trap. Very awkward take.
Bunton and Vader. Great contest at the moment. Nothing in it. Aish, McFarlane, they're having an excellent individual contest. Well done, McDermott. Drop punt. Teal and Kernahan. Well done again by Kernahan. Teal's got his hands full today. High left footer, Duthie and Teal. Teal can handle Duthie, but he can't handle Kernahan. Fosdyke, well done, Duthie. Adler. Lunnis's tackle was strong. Teal caught by Duthie. Michael Ace from centre half forward will go over the top now. Keith Thomas has got a paddock. He can set this up and kick a goal. Thomas is running. Drop punt is going to go through. Kernahan the front spot. Bunton won it to Greg Thomas. He fell over, got on top of it, got it to McIntosh. Button's handball to Michael Ace, very good. Can the McGarry medalist kick a goal? It's a floater and it's going to go through, and Norwood are within a point. Button and Kernahan, Weston waiting at the back. Button did that well. A high left footer. Hayden and Coleman. Hayden taller, but Coleman a little stronger. Smothered courageously by Turnbull. Hayden snap will go through. Mark that one down to Turnbull though. Short to Roberts. Couldn't take it. Jenkins. Roberts got in his road. Jenkins won it back. Lucky to Bunton.
Oh, he's a good player. That's magnificent, Bruce. That is real class.
22nd.
It's a high kick into half forward. Kernahan's under it. He's outmarked by his skipper. Paul Weston at the front spot, just nipping in under the pack. Very high. Herco from the back. Winter just spoiling from behind, not penalised. Very fortunate. Duthie tackled. Oh, that's movement. Well done. Fantastic. Chris Duthie, what a great goal.
Glenelg hanging in strongly. Bunton with a tap to Michael Aish. He faded with the handball, then got it back to Bunton. Turnbull almost committed himself. McIntosh the same. Frost did very well to get it to McGuinness.
It's a better handball, Bruce, bit of reflex.
To Barrett.
Well done, they're running now.
Weston to Marshall. Now Marshall will go to Seward. Will Schmal get there?
He will.
Seward kept his ground though. He'll run through half forward. Broke 3 tackles. Duthie dropped it and it'll be holding the ball. Now Winter's got Turnbull, but he's going to go longer to Jenkins. Now Weston sitting there. Great run, Jenkins.
But Ace reading it beautifully on the rebound. Coming across. Just goes around his body. Just kicks it a little bit too far. Marshall. Well done. Jim Teal in front. Takes the ball. High on as it flies from his hands. Smile. Is tackled. Ball falls from his hands. Holding ball. Thomas across to Michael Aish. Michael Aish decides to bounce the ball. Draws the player. He's tackled. Ball flies from his hand. McGuinness. Knocked back to McGuinness. He can't get it. Mark Hewitt takes it. It's a good play there by Painter in the centre as he knocked the ball forward. McFarlane, beautifully done, John McFarlane. Stimulating football. McGuinness into the full face. Magnificent goal. Full points to Glenelg. Just kicks the ball across to the face of the goal towards Roberts. Bunton reading the ball best. Gives it to Turnbull. Just held the ball to the last second. Gave Turnbull an easy opportunity. And Turnbull just pots the goal.
Duthie, Simons. Simons hasn't been able to quite get into it. Gee, Duthie's got some run. Little left footer. Herco. Herco runs it back towards Simons. Simons found some space. The pinch hitter from the base. That's a great kick. It's going to go through. What a goal by Simons.
He's unreal. He is unreal. Bad
Handball
mistake.
not good. Schmal will scoop it up for Norwood. Lannis gets back. Schmal had the strength though to hold his ground. Now Roberts with a chance. Post onto him. Roberts too far out to score, takes the mark.
That's a bad mistake by Lannis and a beautiful bit of play by Schmal. For once they've gone straight down the ground, Bruce. There was no messing around then. Schmal just made a beeline for the attack and it's a magnificent kick. On the goal line. It's through.
Kick for kick. Duthie and Hine. Both sides want the double chance. McGuinness's handball not good. Ace runs through. Turnbull. Frost too tall. What a mark. Has a lead from Simons, that's the way he's going. Atlas taking the mark. Left foot by Noble high. Warhurst. Corns did it beautifully. Straight down the throat of Marshall. High by Marshall. Stemper from the back. Also Michael Annie. Here's a chance. Seabone will get it to Weston. And Weston should go straight over the top to McGuinness. And McGuinness should eat this from centre half forward. Oh, he miskicked it. And here's the chance anyway. Simons has put it through. And the Bays are in front. And Simons has got his fourth.
They can't seem to get up the line. Corns with an opportunity. Spoils away. Kernahan knocks it forward to Painter. Painter to McGuinness. His movement's terrific. It's a long handball to Weston. Weston goes straight for the goal on a 1 out. This is the opportunities they need. Bit of luck and they've had it. Tony McGuinness couldn't even try to tackle then. I think he's feeling the pinch.
Roberts on a lead. He's held it. Kicked 4 goals today, Roberts. Came off in the third quarter, looked out of the game, was injured. Drop punt is
Distance.
A strong one, a high one, a long one. It's gone through. Roberts has got his 5th in order in front. What a game of football. 16-12 to 16-10. Hine against Kernahan. Hine won it. Can McIntosh get to it? It's set for him okay. We'll give it back to Turnbull. Turnbull over the top to Till. This is important to McIntosh. McIntosh at centre half forward. Oh, great tackle by Barrett. What a magnificent tackle. McDermott back towards Hulse. Greg Thomas will try and run him down. Hulse got a quick kick. Michael Ace can sew it up from the boundary line. Fell over to Fosdyke. Fosdyke will run around. High kick by Fosdyke. Into the goal square. Bunton from the back. Is Roberts. He's marked it. No, he hasn't.
Fumbled it over the line, maybe. That's the winning score, Bruce, I'd say. We'll need a goal now.
30 minutes has gone. It's 16-13. players because they've given everything. Painter, Marshall, McFarlane. He'll go to Weston. The Bays have still got a chance. He's got to keep his head. He's got to go to the goal, and that's going to go close. It's long. It's going to go. Oh! Weston's won it for the Bays. What a goal! What a magnificent kick! A captain's goal, and the Bays will win it. 17-11 to 16-13, and Weston's kick 4. The siren's got to go at any second. McGuinness won the kick. It's gone now, and Glenelg have won. 17-11, 113. 16-13, 109, and the Bays have won a game at Football Park we'll remember for a long, long time.
Well, let's hope those two teams can put on a game like that today for the football public, not only in South Australia but throughout Australia. What a magnificent spectacle, and full credit to all players on both sides. And now let's go to a commercial. Hey,
girls,
morning. You were on the edge of the seat there watching that replay.
Oh, gee, it was good stuff, wasn't it?
Great stuff.
As you said, if it could be like that today, it'd be tremendous. But hey, you were etching out a TV career, eh? We could start a rumour, Dave. You could be coach of West Adelaide next year. Could be in doubt.
I think the other fella's in bed with the flu or something.
The worm has turned. For 18 years I've been waiting for this opportunity. I've been asking him questions in the media for 18 years, so my first comment, no comment.
No
like
comment,
that.
Ian. Well,
that's what you've been saying to me for 18 years.
I'll ask you one, Ian. You've seen these two sides play a lot this year, and where do you think the strength of Norwood lies?
In their running players, Neil, and also the fact that Rocky Roberts has stopped looking in the mirror, and I say that kindly.
Hang on, let's go back to that. How do you mean?
Well, I think Neville has stopped looking at himself in the mirror, inasmuch I believe when he was with West Torrens, he had his physical education, whatever it was, his bizzo, and I think he built himself up too much.
Muscle bound.
I said he was muscle bound.
Oh, well, that's, yeah.
And I believed he was too slow and he couldn't get off the ground. Now, I reckon that Rocky would be at least, 5 or 10 kilos lighter than he was when he was with West Torrens, with the result he's quicker and he can get up off the ground, and he's become a match winner. He's kicked nearly 50% of Norwood's score in the last 5 or 6 matches.
And Peter, while we're on that, let's go back and let's look at the position that the Norwood Football Club found themselves in when, the tribunal placed a $50,000 transfer fee on Neville Roberts' head, plus, of course, there was his own contract to satisfy. A big decision, but gee whiz, it's paid off.
Enormous, and I think probably the tie-up between Neil Balme and Neville Roberts meant a lot then, because they played together at Richmond. Neil Balme knew that Neville had ability. I guess we all knew that, but geez, form in his last year at West Torrens wasn't the sort of form that you'd go out and spend $50,000 or $60,000 on him, would you? It was a big risk. His form when fit was the type of form he would, but of course, bearing in mind he wasn't on the ground for a great percentage of the games that were played.
Neil, do you think he's fine down? Do you think he's less bulky than when you coached him?
He's quicker.
No, I don't think he's... Well, I think he has, yes, because he's been playing a lot more footy.
Yeah, right.
And naturally, of course, he's got match hardened. But he realises now that his job at Norwood is to score goals. At Torrens, he was trying to do everything. He was chasing and tackling and trying to prevent the ball getting out of their forward line. He was trying to do 3 men's work, and I think that's why he copped the number of injuries he did. But now he's got one job to do, and he's doing it well.
To answer your original question, which you asked me, why I think Norwood have got more runners than the Bays who can distribute the ball well. Now, there's no question that Painter is a fine user of the ball. McDermott is one of the players who gets it out of the bottom onto the boot very quickly. I don't think I've seen a boy who puts the ball as quickly to his boot. But when you have a look at Norwood's players that can move a ball and move it well accurately and kick to position, I just think they've got more of them.
It's a good comment, and it hasn't been said, and I was going to say it a little later, because watching Norwood in the last 3 games, Peter, they've got so much confidence in their ability to move the ball short and look for a little lead.
Right.
They do it well, and then, of course, their runners come up with the handball, and they're over the top of the back-playing player.
Yeah, we've been watching it a lot, and we've been commenting on it during the games. Neville Roberts and Keith Thomas are the two that I think do it the best, and they can disguise their movements. You know, Neville shaping up for a 60-metre kick and suddenly goes short. And you've got to cover those players, otherwise they'll rip you to pieces, Norwood.
We'll be back with Peter and Ian in a short while, but now let's have a look at the qualifying final between Norwood and Sturt.
Fosdyke goes long and high to full forward. Oh, Bunton in front, a strong mark. He's played it on. Here's a chance, Roberts. He doesn't miss, Roberts. can't win a game here without lots of run. Sims taps it out. Graham is running. Bouncing it away from Thomas. Thomas won't get to him. A beautiful run from Graham. Well, Brown was into the back of Smile. The umpires played it on. Brown's had a pop at goals. He's hit the post again. Michael Graham searching for the goal. It's a good kick to the teeth of goal. I think it might have gone through. What a great kick for goal. Sturt finally got one. Sims playing pretty well at centre-half back. Craig in front. Good mark.
Not a good one, however. Eddie Fry back in defence. Jenkins there with him. Fry, beautifully done. Centre wing. Aerial ping-pong. Zubrnik gave the chance to Wilson. Towards midfield. Motley up. Beautifully judged.
Here's a chance, McAvaney. Oh, he nearly marked the ball. He's got a chance to kick it off the ground. He has. It won't quite make it, or has it? Oh, that's a point according to the umpire, but that was very, very close.
Ferring will go for the spoil. Aishin coming through. Andrew Aish had his brother there, Michael Ferring, looking for somebody. Turnbull thought about the handball, goes long himself. It's going to be touch and go. This could be a magnificent goal. Well done. Scooted out. Neagle again. Here's a chance. Andrew Aish dummied the first time. Kicks in long. This is going to be another fine goal, I believe. Ferring playing an important part for Norwood today, doing well against Spiel, certainly not allowing the big fella to dominate. Thomas to Fosdyke is good football. The legs go into attack again towards Roberts in front. No, it's Bunton on this. No, Roberts is right. The handball is swung out to Radbone. Long they go. Davies comes to meet it. Over the top. Warhurst kicked in towards the half-forward line by Thomas. Rocky Roberts, yes! Well, the umpire's calling him to play on. I thought he had it. So does the Norwood crowd. The long handball goes out. Here's a chance for them to score now. Motley, a high kick towards the half-forward line. Smale being held. Which way he's going to give the free kick to Smale. Too much pressure on. McAvaney gets the tap away. Finally a chance for Turnbull now. If it will sit for him, it won't. Quickly in was Wilson. Turnbull butters up again. Trying to get the handball away. Fosdyke is dispossessed. Called to play on. Radbone gets it out towards Hewish. Turnbull butters up again and he's swallowed by Norwood players, Sturt players, and this time he's penalised for holding the ball.
Sturt trying to attack on that outer side of the ground. Here's a chance through Motley. Motley swings it in front of Heinrich. Sims is there. Oh, Warhurst played it well. Spiel got it over to Filkey now. Here's a chance, Sturt. Filkey lines him up. Well, he finally got one. McAvaney or Radbone got it. Here's a chance, Sturt. Way out in front of Spiel. Oh, he didn't jump at the ball. Down to Heinrich it goes. Michael Graham. If it sits for him, he'll kick a goal. Through it goes. Sturt have got one. Oh, did they need those two goals?
Second bounce. McIntosh makes the break. Intercepted beautifully, Radbone. Oh, what an interception. Sets it up short. Wilson, good tackle. Thomas. Norwood over the centre line. The kick is not a good one. Coming to meet it is Pake. Can't trap it or he's got too much pace. Gets out the handball well to Radbone. Around the corner looking for Michael Graham. Smile. Can't bring it down. Heinrich. Brendan Howard. Sturt go for home with a long one. This is going to be awfully close. Warhurst can't get there. Davies and Ferring. Davies hooked it back brilliantly to Heinrich. Cleverly over to Brendan Howard, but he can't get the kick away. Gives a chance to Craig now. Dummies the handball. He's only got Stepper to get around. Too much pace. Goes in towards full forward. Warhurst there. First recover Brown. Michael Graham. Goal number 4. Beautifully done, Sturt. Fosdyke to the half-forward line looking for Jim McAvaney. The big fellow's in there, takes a good mark. Thomas will get the next one out wider. You'll find Turnbull. Turnbull over the half-forward line. He's going to go for home with a long one. It's a nice-looking kick. I think it's going to be a goal. Beautifully run the legs. Nice-looking screw punt up towards Spiel again. Thumped away. First recover's going to be Zubrnik. Snaps towards goal. I think that's home. Beautifully done, Zubrnik. His first goal touched.
Bad luck for the Blues. Craig's intercepted. Here's another chance. Zubrnik will have another go. He kicks long with that ball. That's over. That's through this time. Oh, he made no mistake with that one. He's going to the other side of the ground. That can be dangerous if it doesn't come off. Great mark.
Forwards the ball to centre wing. Motley's going to be a leaper. Fine mark. He's under pressure. Good tackle. Roberts through. Pushed off the ball. Davies. Motley, Zubanek, Craig drops it, stirred in. Filkey used his pace to break clear, goes in with a long one, going across the face of goal, getting back there, desperately taking a fine mark, is Bruce Winter.
Oh, no contest. Smile in front of Graham then, a misunderstanding. Fry pushed Neagle out, took the mark.
Drives to the half-forward line, trying to get there is Thomas, almost gets it on the half-volley, recovers well shepherded, gets it over to Turnbull, here's a chance, should be a goal, he'll give it to Michael Ace, no into goal, he goes, and Lord have tied the game up. Turnbull's third goal, Teal comes to meet the ball against the tide, the handball is intercepted by Radbones, third in attack, Winter back there, fine mark.
Motley's giving him something to aim at. I think Michael Ace might be in the middle now. Motley in front. Couldn't take the mark. Radbone, great handball. He's given Howard the run. Over the top. Wilson, Skirter moving. Graham's on his own and hits it a half forward. That's where it goes. Oh, the black flash.
Both teams getting tired. The back of the pack, it's Turnbull. Can't control it. Radbone can't either. He drops the ball. All to play on. Here's a chance. Fosdyke will give it over to Ace. Ace short. In towards Neagle. Bunton in. Taps it out. Neagle into the open goal. Waiting for it was Roberts. Brilliantly passed. Stemper. Chip short. McIntosh. Fine mark.
Sturt have got to do something quickly. Spiel puts a high ball in. Davies running into getting under it. Couldn't take the mark. Oh, has he? Yes, he has. Davies stole it. Sturt, I don't think they've got much wind left in the sails. The siren's gone. Well, Norwood has snatched that victory from Sturt. They appeared to have it won, but Norwood, you've got to give it to them. They fought back 11-17 to the Blues. 10-15. Norwood will play Port next week, and Sturt will play the Bays.
Peter, something that's come out of both of those games has been the great tackling.
Yeah, it's been tremendous, and there are some good tacklers there today. They can all tackle, and interesting comment from Brian Cunningham last night, talking to him. He thinks that that Norwood tackle quicker. They get to the body quicker than Glenelg, and that's an interesting comment from someone that's that should know.
Well, he's been there the way this year a bit. He's,
One of the highlights there, Neil, I thought, was Duthie, his tackling.
Oh, early in the first one, yeah, it was great tackle. A double tackle there once was absolutely brilliant stuff. But this is one of the things that I think could well decide the game. Who, in the tackling area, gets the free kick instead of giving away the free kick? Because there is a big difference. Like you can run in with a silly bad tackle and give away a free night. Now if a boy's over the ball and you jump on him, it's a free kick.
That decided the Norwood Port game. Port Adelaide gave away, I think, about 9 or 10 free kicks with untidy tackles. A lot of them were in front of goals. I think Norwood got 9 from goals. They were all there, but the tackling from Port Adelaide was very untidy, and yet Port still could have won that game, and Sturt could have beaten Norwood then too. And I don't think that Norwood's form in the finals, they've won the games, you can't take it away from them, but I don't think it's been as good as what a lot of people might think.
Ian, as we know, Norwood are going into the grand final with 4 or 5 youngsters, maybe 5. How do you think they'll measure up?
Well, Neil, you know what a final is like. It's a different ball game. Sure, they'll be nervous, but I believe they've got the ability to overcome it. But then again, Norwood has got a splendid blending of youth and experience. Of course, the Bays have got that too. And I just feel that those young players, I've seen them play some very tough games in recent times. Peter and I have been lucky enough to see them play 3 or 4 times in the last 5 weeks. And I think the lads will measure up well.
Righto, Ian, on the spot, who are you going for?
Well, you know, I think the Bays can win, but I think Norwood will.
How about a little bit each way?
Yeah, well, that's right. I've got to galvanised groin, Mike Coward used to say, but I said on the fence. But no, I think the Bays are good enough to win, but I just think that Norwood will win. I've seen them play well over the last few weeks.
But who are you selecting?
And the form... Don't hassle me. Now, listen, I told you before, this is my big opportunity and I'm going to have it. Norwood.
Norwood, Peter.
Well, I wouldn't have a clue. I really would. I'm like you. I'd love Glenelg to win. I'd love them to win. I think the gods have smiled on Norwood in their past 3 grand final matches. I think they snatched victories in 75 and 78, and I think they beat better performing sides. They deserve their victories. In 1980, I think they played it right up to Port Adelaide when they were nowhere near as good. I don't know that the gods can keep smiling on Norwood too much longer, and I've got a feeling for Glenelg today. Got a bit of a feeling.
He'll change by the time the game starts. He usually does.
Well, thanks, fellas, and good luck with your calling today. As you know, these boys will be bringing the game live to Australian audience today from 2 o'clock on, and good luck, fellas, and all the best.
Thanks,
Looking
Neil.
forward to it, Neil. Thank you.
And now we'll just go to another little commercial. In finals football for right throughout their careers, both as players and as coaches. Hayden, of course, has coached many grand final sides, and Darryl, that's an experience you've got to enjoy yet, but I'm certain it will come one day, and I guess you're both looking forward to it.
Well,
the game, that is.
The game, the next grand final. This one particularly, Neil, because I thought it might have been important Norwood grand final, and I think that probably that would have added a bit more to it, but Glenelg, the way it's building up this week, I think probably Glenelg got a better chance than what I would have given them 2 weeks ago.
Well, as an opposing coach throughout the year, which side has, say, given South the most trouble? Which ones have pressed you?
Well, we've beaten both of them, and they've beaten us on 2 occasions. I think you can never. We had Norwood. What we thought on it was a winning situation. We thought we had them at one stage, and they came back hard in the last quarter, and they won by 4 or 5 goals. Glenelg don't seem to do that. Glenelg, if they, to me, if you've sort of got them struggling a bit in the last quarter, they just haven't got what Norwood seemed to pull out. So to Port, you can never let them. You can never think you've got them beaten. I think Norwood have been tougher. They're more versatile than Glenelg. I'll put it that way. And I think Glenelg have probably got 1 or 2 players that just fade out. They rely a lot on them, but they can fade out of a game. Ralph Sewer is one. Now, Ralph's a very, very good player, very, a competitive player, but at times you don't see him for a quarter. There's not too many Norwood players in that situation.
And Darryl, as a central coach, have you detected any weaknesses, say, in Norwood or Glenelg's game throughout the year?
Well, we didn't have a lot of trouble with Norwood, even at the parade. We should have beaten them by 6, and we just couldn't kick goals. Therefore, it surprises me. I think Norwood, as Peter Marcus said, they are into the finals, and in the finals they haven't played that well. I thought certainly against Sturt and against Port. Port had a lot more shots. Yet Glenelg have been very inconsistent against Central, so either very good or very bad, as our massive win. I like to think we played very well. But I think since they've reorganised the side with Weston, the mobile centre-half forward, and since they've stabilised with Corns in form at centre-half back, they've been a well-balanced side. But I think that both sides are very similar. They, for example, have got Ruckman at full forward. The difference really is Bunton at centre-half forward as opposed or compared with Weston. So it's a very close game, and it's hot, slightly windy. It's going to be the luck of finals.
I agree there, and we'll come back to Hayden and Darryl in a second. Now let's go and have a look at the first semi-final between Glenelg and Sturt.
Into the pocket, Davies on the lead now. He's going to get a leap in front with Spiel. McInerney at the back of the pack. They can't pick it up. Seabohm in trouble. Spiel over the top. Filkey gets it out. The short one from Hollis in towards goal. Could be the first one for the game. Kernahan having a run on the ball. Carey going for his first spell. Spiel is still in there. Holst at the back. Marshall. Oh, the handball out to McGuinness wasn't good. He's on the left foot, out in front of the lead now of Lunnis. Right there with him is Pake. Used his body well. Quickly now, Weston. Weston inside the distance, 40 metres out. Heads for home. I think he's popped it through. Goal to Weston. Well done.
Stirred into attack. No one home though. Maynard for Glenelg. Corns provides the run. Sewer is short. That's where it goes. Ralph Sewer takes off, runs into trouble, then puts a long ball out in front of Paul Weston. Sims getting up. Weston almost marked the ball. Motley has it smothered. Well done, Weston. Here's a chance, David Holst. Glenelg on the run again. That's a great kick, Holst. Well played, Weston again to Holst.
There was an FAD, but Hutton was clear in any case. Third advantage over the centre line. He goes in towards Davies. Comes to meet it, and the free kick is going against Davies. Gets the leap away. Frost there right with him. Taken out of his Doothie. Andy Zilmachan thought about the handball. He's run himself into trouble. Oh, that was a bad mistake.
Whittlesey plays it over to Zubernick. Beautiful handball. Hollis is on his own. Sturt with a big chance. Hollis goes goes long. Davies getting under it, not Davies. Heinrich coming in. Here's a chance, Graham. Back to Heinrich. Got Heinrich. He's got Heinrich. Here's a goal. Stern finally got one. The Bay played the base. Supporters wanted a free kick for holding the ball. It wasn't there.
Into attack towards Davies, a high kick. Davies and Frost. Davies front, Davies in front. The umpire said play on. Zoom shoots at the big white ones, but hits the woodwork. Same as last week, as you say. Craig up over the top, fine mark.
Kick number 6. Michael Graham under it. Hine did well then to spoil that ball. Graham backed up, so does Craig. Here's a chance for the Blues. Davies and Frost, one out. Davies behind. To half forward it goes. Lunnis a chance. Pate played it well. He read it beautifully. Oh, the handball went away. Weston got it to Lunnis. Carey's going to mark this one. Getting underneath the ball. He's got it.
Kernahan in front, good mark. Holt's provided some run. Weston wants it in short. He's undecided. Now he's giving Farquhar the opportunity. Casey there. Farquhar too strong. He's calling for a trainer. Craig's kick has gone up high. Davies in front. Bourne's waiting for it. Frost gets it to Maynard. It's a high kick towards the half-back line. Hine and Craig playing over the top. What a beautiful mark. Spiel gets this tap away to Wilson. His handball is not a good one. Painter smothered. Wilson stirred into attack now. A long one in toward full forward at the back of the pack. Radbone can't get it. Zoom. Michael Graham. Open goal. Should be home. Well done, Sturt. Now Barrett had a magic first quarter. Radbone comes out with the ball. Wants backup support. Craig can't quite scoop it up. Radbone in again. Supported by Craig. Craig dummies, twist, turns. The handball to Zubernick. Back to Radbone. On his natural left foot. Goes in long and that's a goal. Beautifully done, his first.
Well, that was brought back too far by Sims. Lunnis to Sewer. Marked that one down for a goal. The first to Sewer.
Sturt badly need a goal to keep in touch. Fry goes long towards Michael Graham. He hasn't been in the action much in front. Motley, good mark.
Kick on the way, or Whittlesey. Great mark, Whittlesey. Read it beautifully. What a superb leap from the champ. Marshall got Zubernick high. Craig's got it now. Kicks a long ball to full forward. Frost in front. Good mark, Frost.
There's no question he's pulled a muscle in his right leg. Kernahan! Likewise, Filkey. Better luck for Davies. Howard. Sturt run the ball beautifully. Zubernick over the half-forward line. He goes in long. This is going to be home. I think it's a goal! Beautiful running football.
Kernahan underneath the ball, couldn't mark it. Here's Hutton with McDermott. Great football. Lunnis. He's caught before he kicks it. Carey cannot run. Cannot run at all, but plays it beautifully back to Lunnis. He threw it. Peter Mead right on the spot. Puts it out in front of Simons. Oh, good mark. The handball missed Wilson. Wilson is caught. Craig runs past the ball. Radbone. Here's the racehorse. This is what Sturt need. They need some run. Radbone goes long. Davies back at full forward, up high. No mark. Motley. Caught with the ball. Oh, he's getting played with a high tackle.
Frost kicking. Goes towards Carey, playing a magnificent game. That leg must be really paining him. Sims. Back to Wilson. Oh, that's another bad handball, although they could get out of this one. Coming out of it, Weston. Here's a chance. Tony Simons. Sims can't catch him. In towards goal. Puts it on its way. Goal! His second. Carey. Back to Marshall. Duthie wants it out in front of him. That's where it goes. In turn, McGuinness. Over now, McDermott. In the pocket is Lunnis. He heads for goal with a long one. I think that's home as well. Oh, the Bay's running on water at the moment.
And Long getting underneath at Fry, but he dropped the ball. McDermott, a quick kick looking for Kernahan. He traps it beautifully. Fry runs straight into him. Casey the handball to Howard. Caught. Great tackle, Marshall holding the ball. To centre half forward, Weston, Sims, oh, good work, Weston. And he'll sweep it short to Heinrich. He didn't appear to want it. Carey to Simons was a good handball, and the kick to Weston was superb. So was that. Sewer to McGuinness. What a build-up here. McGuinness has lined him up. Through it goes. Great football, Glenelg. Seabohm smashes the ball from centre half back. Beautifully tapped down from Marshall to Holst. To centre half forward it goes. Seward, great mark. Wilson short, looking for Motley, but I think Marshall might. No, couldn't quite make the ground, and a good mark by young Peter Motley in front of Marshall.
The long kick in towards forward pocket, looking for it. Motley, top mark.
And watch Davies. Not at all sure about that movement, but a great mark. Zubranic, short. Davies on another lead. Good mark.
There's the siren, and the illustrious career of Jack Oatey has come to an end in the first semi-final. John Halbert delighted with Steve Highwood, the assistant coach. McInerney goes for home with a long one after the siren. It's his first goal. And the Bays have run out winners in the Mothball semi-final, 15-17 to Sturt 9-18.
There's some exciting young football talent in this state that's going to provide us with a lot of good players in the future. Back to you in a moment. Norwood will have a ruck plan.
Yes, I think that as a coach that I would be looking to how I could attack Glenelg, and I think perhaps a weakness might be Carey's ability to run. So it's critical today that Fairing and McAvaney make Carey run across the ground, and that at the centre square and boundaries that they make him leap.
That's boundary to boundary, east to west.
Yes, they've got to work.
Wing to wing.
They've got to make him run. In fact, that will be a weakness in Glenelg's game if they're able to do it. On the other hand, obviously, they'll try and make Weston run too if he's suffering a little bit with illness. So that's two coaching points of view.
What about with the ruck, though? Carey does wander down and position himself across the half-back line, which means that Fairing then drops back across the Norwood half-back line. What Norwood have is an advantage is they've got Bunton down there at centre half forward, so Fairing can afford that luxury. Well, Norwood can afford that luxury, having Fairing back behind the play. But then can Glenelg afford that luxury?
Well, no. Norwood have certainly got the advantage with the extra big man. If anything happened to say one of the
ruckman too.
And if something did happen to one of the Glenelg ruckmen, well then there's a big workload had to be accepted by one of the other boys. But I think Darryl made a good point in the fact that if Norwood, when they come out of defence, and instead of going to the build-up area where Carey is, go across the ground to the other side, and if there's a ball out of bounds, then it forces him, of course, to get across there and compete for a throw-in.
Well, this is something that Michael Aish, of course, does. He reverses the play out of the back lines, and that means that Painter and McDermott become critical, and then if that man is manned up, then it becomes a matter of the ruckman running. And it'd be interesting to watch what the coaches do.
I wonder how much work really Carey will do. If that starts to take its toll a little, they've obviously got to switch with Kernahan. And Carey is no slouch down in front of goal.
But he can't kick. He hasn't kicked.
If he's not too far out, I mean, he can kick 10 yards or 20 yards. Now, what about with the Norwood situation? Would they use Bunton again at full forward, as they have done, and bring McAvaney out so that he can be the quicker player?
Well, they may well do.
They did it in the last quarter against Port, didn't they?
But I think we are also overlooking the fact that Weston, as he has proved in the past, is a very capable ruckman to contest a boundary throw-in. His delivery of the ball over the back is excellent. Now, if he's super fit like he always is, he'll be able to do the job. But of course, he may have a fitness problem. We don't know. But looking further afield, then of course we go to the ball when it comes off the ruckman's hands and into the roving area, Hayden. And you yourself a past master in that position. Do you see any advantage there?
No, I think that probably that's where Glenelg may be just battling a little. That if Carey is dropping back in the back line, across the half-back, between half-back and the centre line, when the ball does come down, or certainly you've got Weston there, but there's just one heavy thump, from across that line back down to centre. That's where the Glenelg Rovers will be found under the ball. And Glenelg have got no one on the interchange. If they do run out of big men in the right areas, they've got Simmons and Farquhar, haven't they? Where Norwood at least have got Adler, and that brings Adler into the centre half forward situation or somewhere in the forward line, and you can use Bunton. I think there might be just a little light on Glenelg, particularly if anything happens to either Kernahan or Carey.
Back with Hayden and Darryl in just a moment. Now let's have a look at some of the highlights on how Norwood got into the grand final in their last game against Port.
Through the centre, Tim Evans with the run at the ball. Winter from centre half back from that free kick, pushing it back by Granger. Phillips at his best.
Now he's got Fairing short, and that's the way he's going to go. Now Fairing's usually a very long kick. Didn't get onto it. Hughes takes the chance. Greg Thomas over the top. Roberts, one goal. Winter went without it. Harris fell on top of it. Till recovered. He'll try and break the tackle. He put himself in trouble and then put Jenkins in trouble. Great tackle on Jenkins holding the ball. Play on. Bradley has a shot and kicks a goal. Russell Ebert with the run of it. Great handball to Belton. Took a long time to get there, but the idea was perfect to Granger. David Granger's first touch back to Ebert. Left-footer to Aegis. Takes the mark. Left-footer. Greg Thomas. Giles.
It's a terrific recovery for the tackle there by Thomas.
Belton ducked. Had to get rid of it. Roberts caught by Leslie. Play on Andrew Ace to Turnbull. Turnbull fell over. Wanted a free kick. Didn't get it. Holding the ball. Winter looks for Warhurst. Belton's got the run of him. Warhurst takes a splendid mark. Baker and Michaelani. Michael Aish. McIntosh. High drop punt. Greg Thomas and Eckerman. Roberts coming in late. Oh, yes. A floater. Harris. Winter. Harris almost. Huppets. Bradley with a run of it.
Oh,
great pace.
Beautifully done. Bunton. Nagel. What magnificent reading. Beautifully done, Neil Bunton. Beautifully done, Richard Nagel. Cunningham rebounding. Short to Ebert, who he doesn't find. Granger coming in, anticipates well. Well done, David Granger. Gives the ball out wide to Andy Porplesia. Porplesia into the forward pocket to Ben Harris, and he takes a well-judged mark. Brian Cunningham. Comes from Fosdyke from behind.
Ace to Andrew Ace. Drop punt to the goal square. It's going straight. Michaelani's got it. Goal. Granger stood his ground. Williams, Porplesia. Drop punt. Porplesia gets his first.
And we just see the ruckman kicking to each other. Phillips. Stemper.
They keep banging it in and Phillips and Johnson keep marking it. Warhurst floats one. Harris takes a splendid mark.
They've got it into full forward. They've gone around the big ruckman. Michaelani from the back. Roberts falls over. Recovers. Makes out to give it the Bunton and gets a free kick for a trip. Tim Evans has missed the goal. There's the old story. Trying to kick the ball out of sight from what was a simple kick. Tim Evans not impressed. The fact that he kicked it so hard gave the umpire, of course, no chance to sight. Short to Michael Aish. Another bad bounce. Turnbull blocking for his teammate.
Granger gives away a foul after disposal. He gave away the free kick in the first place. Nor to play on. Schmale 2 bounces. 3, 4. To Bunton. The big bear couldn't take it. Now he can kick a goal. Ebert, Gallagher. The 2 champions in the centre. Porplesia caught by Andrew Ash. Jim Michaelani playing well to Neagle.
Ebert running into the half-forward line. Evans and Warhurst. Evans in front.
Had a big first half, a floater. Great mark in the front by Baker with a long one. Roberts getting set. Holds it. Long handball, not all that good. Bradley tapped it back to Ebert. To Porplesia. To Johnston. To Williams. Goal.
Play on as Norwood clear from defence. Phillips spoils. Michael Ace gets possession. Centre of the ground. Turnbull. Gallagher's made a lot of yards. Turnbull recovers. Gallagher has a look. Beautiful play. Gary McIntosh has been shifted from the centre. This time he doesn't miss.
Now Evans on a lead. Winter's got to try and make it. Evans, great mark. Splendid kick.
In towards Bunton and Phillips. Phillips from the back, can't mark it. Thomas puts his hand on the ball and just knocks it out to Turnbull. And they've got it. It's a magnificent bit of play on the ground.
High. Evans.
Russell Ebert. Smile holding ground. On that take, he's given it to Ace too. That's a free kick that both players spoiling. But Bunton's given Keith Thomas the play, and he's kicked the goal.
The Bear tries to break through. Adler, a little kick. Greg Thomas has got some toe. Hubbard's is after him. A quick kick by Greg Thomas. Roberts has marked it. Button from the back. McIntosh, oh gee, that's bad luck.
Port Adelaide player went to hit the ball, and McIntosh went in quickly and just ran into the arm.
As McIntosh with a drop punt. Roberts setting himself. He's going to be paid it.
Turnbull's going to have a look back, and he goes for the short circuit play to Button.
And the winner's got to butter up against the Redlegs. Michael Annie's done a job and a half. McIntosh tries to break Belton's tackle. Belton across towards Porplesia. The siren sounds. And Neil Barnes Redlegs win 19-6-120 to John Cahill's Port Adelaide's 14-17, 101 in the second semi-final at Football Park.
Without doubt, that's the type of football we like to see in finals, and Bruce McAvaney is at Football Park now, and although we can't see you on camera, Bruce, what are the weather conditions like down there 25 minutes before the start of the seconds reserve final?
Yes, good morning once again, Neil. They're hot and they're windy, as we expected this morning, and just looking back at that game, what a great game it was, Norwood against Port Adelaide, that second semi-final. The oval, as you'd expect, is looking a picture. Football Park has never looked better. Of course, we've got the South Australian National Football League sign in the middle, then the Redleg sign on the left-hand side as I look at it, and then the Tiger sign on the right-hand side. There are a lot of people already here. The car parks will start to fill up shortly. The boulevard will get very, very busy shortly. And of course, we've got 48,000 people that'll be coming here today, and they'll all be seated. A packed house at Football Park. But it's hot and it's windy, and the wind is coming from the north. And if they're playing right at this very moment in the main game, it'll be worth a few goals. So it could play a part in this big match today between Glenelg and Norwood. Of course, we've got the reserves first. Sturt have come from 5th position. Glenelg were minor premier. They're playing off. We begin that telecast at 11:15. And then, of course, we're going all around Australia from Perth to Cairns at 2 o'clock for the big game. An audience of about 3 million people we're hoping will be watching it on 7. So, Neil, everything's perfect. Hot day, a little bit windy. Crowd starting to build up. The atmosphere is great. It feels good here at Football Park at the moment. It'll feel better at 2 o'clock.
Thank you, Bruce, and back live after this commercial. 2 grand final sides line up with rookie fullbacks. What do you think of it?
Well, you would want to toss a coin, wouldn't you? I think I was very impressed with David Frost's game last week. Surprised me. Felt it could be a weakness against a strong-bodied player, and yet young Warhurst is the identical player down the other end of the ground. Doesn't appear to have the body strength, so for both of those players it's critical that they don't get trapped.
And they're both opposed to tall ruckman.
Yes.
I liked Frost's game. Hayden, he just sort of keeps away from the body and comes in late.
The job he did on Davies.
Brilliant.
You know, that was...
Although Rick Davies, to me, this year deserves a medal for the way he's played with that injury. It's incredible effort.
But Frost is not a player that tries to back his judgment in the air. He calculates very early just the situation he's in, and I like the way that he takes no risks, and he doesn't mind giving away one, touching one, letting it go through, or putting it through, knocking it through, giving them 1 point.
Well, you know why he does that? Because you can rest assured they're certainly not going to score off his kick out.
That's right.
He kicks the ball a long way.
Yes, he's worked 2 kicks.
But I like the way that he does that. He'd give away 1 point rather than sacrifice a chance of 6 being scored on him. And a lot of fullbacks don't do it. I remember Keith Coolman used to try and take a mark over the top. Bruce Winter does it. And incidentally, that's where probably Norwood have one advantage. They've got Bruce Winter alongside Warhurst. There's not a lot alongside, a lot of height alongside.
No experience either. Although Jimmy LaHoo, of course, coming in.
Yeah, but Jim will have enough on his plate, I think, looking after the Rovers. But there's no one there to come and really, come over the back if Frost is under the ball.
Let's jump out to the wings. We haven't spoken about the wingers at all, and of course they're going to play a vital part. They always do. How do you see that one, Darryl, as a former winger?
Well, once again we've got 2 identical sides. I thought that Marshall was very important to Glenelg's win last week. There were 2 brilliant tackles that he put on the last quarter, but you've got Duthie and Fosdyke, similar types of players, rangy, long striders, long kickers, and on the other side you've got Marshall opposed to Aish, both shorter, creative kicks, placement of the ball.
Aish would have the advantage in the air, though, if there is an advantage. He is a fraction taller.
Yes, and he is a good mark overhead. He's a perfect running kick at goal, and Marshall is the same. So you've got, once again, both sides are evenly balanced.
I think Norwood look a lot to Fosdyke with his left foot. The left foot takes the ball out wide, because he does turn out with his left foot on his wing, and that's where you've got Roberts coming across into that gap that might be created. They don't expect the ball to go there, but Fosdyke's left foot puts the ball there, and quite often you see Fosdyke feeding it long up to Roberts, and that's something that Glenelg will have to, with their wingman. I think you've probably got on the wrong side there, Darryl. It might be the other side with the wingman.
Yes, they might change.
And I think you'll find that Aish might be the player that's got to really look after Fosdyke.
How do you think the Glenelg half-back flankers as opposed to the Norwood half-back flankers? In my opinion, the Norwood half-back flankers appeal to me more with their experience and a little bit of togetherness. How do you say, Hayden?
Well, I see Stemper as a very strong player there. He's marking particularly. I think that probably Norwood, got the strength where Glenelg have got they've got the experience. So you wouldn't say Stemper's not experienced, but every time we've played against the Norwood, Stemper has been a real hang-up to us. We can't get it in, no matter who you put out there.
Good player.
He beats you in the air. He keeps the ball on the ground, and he delivers it. And he's a disciplined player. He never takes any risks. Jenkins is the same thing. Well, Jenkins is an attacking player. Jenkins will go past, take the handball and follow down. Stemper does his work, gets straight back, and I think that's where they complement each other. Whatever Jenkins does, you haven't got Stemper doing the same thing, and therefore you're left void in your back line.
We're working against a bit of time here, fellas, so we just can't discuss the Glenelg one. A lot of people out there watching. Darryl, who are you going for?
I'm going for the Bays. I think that perhaps the luck of finals and injuries could be the decider, but I think that their build-up has been beyond what we could have expected, and I saw a photograph of them during the week sitting at Football Park last year looking at the Premiers receive the trophy, and I think that in the back of their minds will be enough to ensure that they play 120 minutes at 100%.
Hayden?
I think Norwood, Neil, an elimination final. They come from an elimination final. If they do it, if Glenelg will do it, well, and I think they've almost made a record here. There wouldn't be anyone that have come up from an elimination final to win a grand final.
That'll be right.
Since we've had the five. Good luck if they can do it. Well, then they show just what sort of side they are. But I think Norwood may just have enough with their rest last week, enough in store to win it. And I think they'll have it won, not in the last dying minutes, a bit earlier in the game.
Gee, it's going to be a great telecast, because here we have coaches and players. They're divided in their opinions. We just don't quite know who's going to win. So those people that can't get to Footy Park today, make certain you're not far away from that television set at 2 o'clock, because it should be a great game. Back with you in a moment. Hard road to make their way into the grand final, and here was their latest victory over Port Adelaide in the preliminary final last week.
Carey, Johnston. Painted from the centre. He's picked up some important kicks around that centre. Knocked on by Kernahan. Weston can't get a good bounce. He's got some skills though, and that is skill.
Kernahan for the Bays. Johnston covered a tremendous amount of territory from half forward to full back today. Over the top again, Weston. Lannis continually runs around onto his right-hand side to McInerney. So McInerney's got one, and the Bays are 8 points in front.
As David Marshall comes in with the kick, he would have covered the distance easily with the 10 metres. As it is, he's done his job, and I'd say there was a goal, I would have said, from here, but Stephen Kernahan has marked the ball. Umpire adjudicating. He's brought him around on a pretty steep angle.
6 marks, 6 kicks to Kernahan, and 4 goals won. And the Bays are 6-6 to 4-4. Glenelg have kicked 4-3 to a point since quarter time.
Kernahan, Sewer, Marshall, McDermott, Holst. Glenelg go full forward. Carey behind. Bodying out, takes the ball and kicks the goal. Graham Robertson's been shifted to full back. Got a bit more height to stand the big fellows.
Been a sensational performance by Glenelg, with Kernahan, Carey and Weston and Painter being the impetus. Johnston to Ebert. Maynard, Belton at the back. Belton kept his balance. Corns are still with him. Huppert's with a chance.
That's a magnificent goal, Bruce. Oh, what a great goal. John McFarlane from half-back to centre wing. Flies off hands from Johnston. Eckerman, strong in his approach on the ball, as always. Free kick to him for a high tackle. And Ivan Eckerman, state back pocket player for 2 of the 3 games played this year, gives the ball to Greg Phillips. Greg Phillips to half forward. Corns in position. Granger. Just Des Foster didn't see it. Granger just with a beautiful round arm left. It's laid out of play. Corns can't believe that Des Foster didn't see it. David Granger's made up his mind that he's going to liven up the activity here a little bit.
What a great mark by Corns. Tremendous mark under pressure. A fantastic mark. Maynard picks himself up. I don't know if the boundary umpire saw it, but Foster did miss it.
It's amazing, Bruce. They could have 37 umpires on the ground. It probably wouldn't be enough to see what's going on. Phillips to half forward, off Granger's hands to Bradley. Long hand ball to Maynard. Maynard quickly round the corner to Belton. Bradley. Port Adelaide now to full forward. Frost with first run at the ball. Spoils it away to Cunningham. Cunningham on his left foot. One of his favourite snapshots. And Port Adelaide are still hanging in there. They're 9 goals for. Trailing Glenelg, 11 goals 7.
Evans with a run. Coming in McFarlane. Maynard could have used Corns. Decided not to. Hook the back. Sewer and Giles. Sewer did that cleverly. It's given Holst a chance. It sits for him now. Granger got rid of Sewer behind the play. Holst towards centre half forward. Eckerman did it brilliantly. Sewer still prostrate on the ground. Even. Across to Hoffner. Hoffner in the centre. Long drop punt. Frost in the front this time. Here's a chance for Hupperts. Hupperts has kicked the goal. Kernahan. Bradley. Corns underneath it. He missed it. One of his few errors, but Granger's got the run of it. Can't pick it up. Oh. Barrow get a free kick.
He just kicked him over then, I feel.
Carey, Johnston, Sewer, Hoffner, Cunningham, Bradley and also Painter. Painter did very well. Marshall tapped it on cleverly to McGuinness. McGuinness on his wrong side, but he's strong with the right foot. That's a long kick. The bounce might have beaten Hughes. It's a goal. Port need a goal. Screw punt by Bradley. Granger and Corns. Corns fisted it away. Williams with a chance. That's a great kick. It's a goal to Williams. It's 12-4 to 13-11 and Williams has got his first.
Cunningham towards Evans. Corns from the back and he interferes. One hand in his back and the umpire allows it to play on. And Port Adelaide through Bradley now. Long and in towards Frost. Granger pushes Frost down the road. Then picks the ball up and kicks it high into the air. McFarlane from behind. And Harris marks the ball. Johnston marks the ball and converts. 1 point the difference.
It's 14-5 to 13-12. 29 and a half minutes gone. Is at the end of 3 premierships in a row for John Cahill and Port Adelaide. Phillips over the top. Cunningham. Weston. Still with it is Weston. And the siren is sounded. And the Bays are in the grand final. They've won by a point. 13-12-90. Port Adelaide 14-5-89. And Glenelg have beaten Port for the first time in a final series for 8 years at Football Park.
Well, that's going to be the scene by one of the camps at 5-5 tonight. There's going to be a lot of happy people on one side and, of course, a lot of disappointed people on the other. That's a grand final. That's how it's got to be, of course, unless there's a draw. But, gee, let's hope we can have a game similar to the ones we've watched today. They've been tremendous stuff and great footy, and the players have shown tremendous character right throughout the final series. In summing up, I'm a little bit like Darryl and Hayden. I'm not quite certain who's going to win. Well, nobody's certain, and I just don't quite know who I feel is going to win. I think I'll stay with Glenelg because they've had a little bit of good things happening for them over the last few weeks and few months, and They haven't normally had that. They've had their share of bad luck throughout finals over the years, but they got into this year's finals with a couple of little things that could have gone against them. They've won some very close finals in the 3 games they've played through sheer determination, and also a little bit of good fortune. So I'm going to stay with the Bays, and if they can do it, what a fantastic effort it would be to come up from the elimination final and win a grand final. No side's done it, and I think they can. Well, Bruce McAvaney is at Football Park now, along with Ian Day and Robert Oatey, to bring you live the reserves grand final, which is due to start very shortly. That too is going to be a wonderful game of football between Glenelg and Sturt. But of course that's just a pre-run into the big one at 2 o'clock. And let's hope that you all stay with us, because I for one feel certain that's going to be a football match that we're all going to remember for a long time. Thank you for being with us today. We've certainly enjoyed your company.
Good morning once again from Football Park. It's still pretty breezy down here at Football Park. A strong wind coming in from the north. Conditions, but for the win, ideal. It's not as hot as we thought it might be. I think the breeze is helping that just for the moment, but we're expecting temperatures of 25 degrees. Already the crowd's starting to build up for this reserves grand final between Glenelg, who finished minor premier and defeated West Adelaide in the second semi-final on their way to this grand final. They won the premiership, of course, last year against Port Adelaide, and their opponents today, Sturt, finished 5th at the end of the minor round. Then they then defeated Norwood in the elimination final, defeated Port Adelaide in the first semi-final, and last week in wet, rainy conditions defeated West Adelaide in the preliminary final. With the teams way up there, high in the stand, with a beautiful overall picture of this magnificent stadium, is Robert Oatey.
Thank you very much, Bruce, and good morning to everybody at home, all those people who are unable to be here through various reasons and have joined us throughout the year for our reserves telecasts on Channel 7. Thank you to you all for being there, and I'm sure today will prove the culmination of a very enjoyable football season. Well, we've got some teams for you, a bit of excitement for the Glenelg fans, because Mark Hewitt is going to be playing for the Glenelg side in the reserves grand final this afternoon. And how with the Glenelg team first, from the forward line, Hartfield, Herco and Motlop. Half forward line, Harrison, Coolman and Hall. Centre line, Hurley, Hewitt and Slade. Half backs, Williams, Garton and Tate. And the back line, Bellman, Walsh and French. The first ruck, Otto, Rady and Mason. The interchange players, Vady and Watson. So out of that side from the team which was published was, of course, Radke. The Sturt side, reading again from the forward line, Taverner, Fitzpatrick and Donaldson. Half forwards, Heaney, Francis and Reid. Centre line, Mousley, Smith and Brown. Half backs, Parsons, Reid and Ford. The full back line, Parker, Warren and Barrett. The first ruck, Hargraves, Brandon Pfeiffer. And the interchange players, Perry and Maxwell. Well, it certainly looks to be a very, very exciting game here this afternoon. Sturt have won 2 premierships from the war, and so have Glenelg. The last one, of course, for Glenelg being last year, and who better to comment on the game? Peter Marker, former Glenelg captain, and Ian Day.
Thank you, Robert. Well, Ian, there's a lot of breeze here. This
Peter.
brings back memories of a couple of previous grand final days we've had, but apart from that, the conditions extremely good. The seconds match, Glenelg premiers last year, and an exciting and controversial match. They're back here this year, but against a different foe, Sturt.
Yes, Peter, I think you should explain the exciting and controversial match last year. Of course, there was a disputed mark, wasn't there, right on the siren,
right.
And then a goal that was even a disputed goal that put the Bays in front, and they hung on to win by about 3 points, I think. But it was a great credit to Stephen Highwood, and he's proved himself a good coach in the reserves. And Peter, you know, I think you used to play with him back in your days. He's a rugged individual. Did you think he was going to make a good coach?
Well, I don't really know what makes a good coach, Ian. It's I guess success makes a good coach, and Stephen's had it. He's got the ability to communicate with people at their own level, and I think that's important. And but when you look through the players that he's got, how many league...
Getting back to Stephen first, sometimes as a player he just lacked a little discipline, should I say it that way?
He was a little bit...
Lacked discipline, yeah.
I don't think I can use those words. No, I better not. Steve's lovely wife is probably watching.
Sure. Well, anyway, no, he's done pretty well, Peter. And I also think that John McGuinness has done an excellent job. It's his first year out at the Unley scene, and of course that he had to continue